Hi, welcome to the open book. We are back. We've done a double whammy. And tonight it is going to be special night, y'all. When I tell you I can't even contain myself tonight because we have a lot of students that are going to be on here, our former students that are going to be on here tonight, and they are going to share with us some things that they've been doing. And also I have my girl Pamela. She's on here. Hi, Pam.
Hey.
How are you today?
I am wonderful. Trying to keep from crying because I haven't seen my babies like in person in a few years. And it's like, waterworks. But I'm excited to be here tonight.
I'm excited too. I'm excited. We have some more people joining. When I tell you our student showed up tonight, I am excited. Oh my goodness. Y'all, we are on Facebook. I'm about to make sure that I share it for a couple of people, and then we're going to get started.
All right.
So how was everyone's day? Pam, how was your day today?
My day was really good. I had to work with a few students today. So
Okay.
I was able to work with the kindergartners today.
Oh, okay. Now that's different.
I just pulled them out for testing. Now, little people, I know my calling, and I know my calling is not the kinder children. Okay. I need them to be a little bit older, about third, second grade. Yes.
Oh,
yes. But it went well. They were active, but they were focused. And so my day went great. Anytime I get to work with the kids, I'm excited.
And ninth grade is different for me because y'all high school, when I tell you high school is different than elementary. My students on here, I had a fifth grade, and that was a different type of anointing than the ninth graders. Because it's a little harder in high school. But tonight, y'all, we have some exciting guests. When I tell you, my heart is so full of joy just to see the great things. I follow my former students. I look at them as my children. So, I'm like a mama, God mama, and so forth. But just to see the wonderful things that they've done throughout the course of their lives so far, I mean, that is the greatest joy in being a teacher. And so tonight, we're just going to have them on for a little bit, and I want them to talk because they are doing some awesome things. So we're just going to go around and let you all introduce yourselves. Tell us something you've been doing. When did you have us? Y'all better say some good things, okay? We will still jack y'all up. And so we'll start over here with Eric. Now, Eric had Miss McCray and me. He had her in fourth grade, and he had me in the fifth grade. So that was, when I tell you, oh my gosh. And Eric was no problem. Now, I did have some students that I had to go and talk to McCray, tell her to come get them because, they were doing some stuff. But when I tell you, Eric, if I could have wrapped him up and kept him every year, someone with his personality, the respect, his mom has done such an awesome job with him and raising him into the great man that he is. So Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, ma'am. So as Ms. Mabry said, at our elementary school, fifth grade, Ms. McCray, I believe I had you in fourth grade as well. And it's definitely fun times back then. Going up into middle school, stayed in Fort Worth ISD for a minute. And then went to Hurst Junior High. From there, went on to Birdville ISD, where I attended Richland High School. And it's been a fun journey since then. Definitely learned a lot.
So, but he's being humble right now.
But see, if I ever had to describe Eric in one word, it has never changed. That one word has never changed.
Yes, never. He's the
smooth. If I had to describe Eric in one word, it's just smooth.
He's just smooth.
Like the whole world could be falling down.
Right.
Eric is
So Eric, tell us what just happened though. See, you're being humble right now, but something just happened recently.
to, to elaborate on the part where I said it's been a journey, really, I guess I could go back to my first initial experience in college. So when I was in college, I started out TCC, Tarrant County College, and I was working at the same time. So I was taking night classes. The job I had at the time, as y'all can probably tell behind me, I like aviation and planes. So I heard somewhere that there's a power in proximity. So if you can get close to your goals, then it would be very beneficial to you in the long run. So as close as I could get without having any major licenses or anything like that was a lounge, believe it or not, in the airport. But it was like a high class lounge. So I was a bus boy in there, waiter, wiping tables and stuff in there. And then around then, that's when the pandemic happened, and semester ended, and I got really serious about what I wanted to do, which is in the long run fly planes. After that, I worked for this company. That was my vest back there, Envoy, where I was blessed to be able to get hands-on experience with aircraft, marshaling them and other things, throwing bags on and off. It wasn't all glamorous at first, believe it or not. And I definitely had to learn how to deal with people. But that gave me, in jobs like that, you work with people that aren't just your age. So I got to experience like working with older people, way older than me. Also in high school, I took some engineering classes, aerospace engineering, rocket engineering, and I started flying.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got a few certificates. That's the date of my first flight, which was September 16th, 2017. So
awesome.
Since then, and yeah, it's been a minute to go out again to the Air Force, about a year and a half doing medical stuff that I had to go get clearances for. I'm sorry, but I had to keep going back. I turned stuff in, they want more, but I didn't get a definite answer, so kept going back till I got a definite answer, and I finally got that on August 12th. So yeah, sworn in, and now I'm on the delayed entry program for the Air Force. So yeah.
When I tell you I'm so proud of you, I saw this from 5th grade. McCray probably saw it in 4th grade that you were going to do some great things. I could always tell that. I'm so proud. Oh, trying not to cry.
About his business, girl. I'm trying to hold him.
I'm trying to hold it in.
Pam, you ain't been out here 5 minutes. You're already struggling. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna go through another one of my students, and then you can introduce your students. But I not only consider this person my former student, but also my daughter. And I had Kiera in the 5th grade. Y'all, this girl and her friends gave me a run for my money. Okay. They know they love me, but they had a way of showing it. When I tell you, I had to be on top of it with these girls. But when I tell you my heart, she has forever had a place in my heart. I learned so much through her. And when I tell you, she has been there. And not only have I been there for her, but she has also been there for me. She has babysat my kids. You know, I don't trust everyone with my kids.
That's right.
When I tell you, okay, I trust her. She's visited me in the hospital. There's been times where I've been in the hospital. Her and another one of my former students came to visit me. And that, when I tell you, that meant a lot. I will never, ever forget that. Now I'm really trying not to cry. But I'm so proud of her because I've seen her press through so much. And God has really been good to her. She has a beautiful baby girl, Riley. And so I know that she's a great mom, and Riley is growing up in with the best care. So Kiera, tell us a little bit about yourself, girl.
Wait, I want to see Kiera. I can't see her. Okay, there we go.
Make sure you unmute. Or do I need to unmute you? Let's see.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Okay.
I don't know where to start. I'm a phlebotomist. I work at Baylor. I work at Medical City Hospital also. Full-time mother. I don't know what to say.
You said it all. I mean, that's what. So what? Okay. So what high school did you go to?
I went to Eastern Hills.
Okay, you went to college a little. Like, what did you do?
Yeah, I went to TCC. Oh, I'm going to school for realtor. I'll be done with that at the end of September.
See, I didn't know that. Congratulations. See?
That is awesome.
Y'all, don't let her fool you because she used to do this in class too. Like, she couldn't talk, trying to act shy. She is not shy.
Kiera, was I there when you were at Eastern Hills, Kiera?
Yes.
Oh, but you didn't. I don't think you didn't have her though for fourth grade, right?
No.
I think you came that year. They moved from fourth grade to fifth grade.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. That following year. Thank you, Kiera. So we're gonna talk about a couple of questions in a second. So get your mind thinking. Okay, Pam.
All right. So one of my other students that I guess I would call my son, because like you, Mabry, I have a difficult time accepting the fact that my students aren't really my biological children. Like, I literally remember when I started teaching and when I started dating my husband, and we had something going on at the school in Baton Rouge, and something happened, and I just broke out into tears. Something happened to one of my babies, and he was like, Pam, you got to understand, those are not your real kids. And I looked at him like he was crazy. Like, those are my babies. I had birthed no other children. If you were on my roll, you were my child. And I was not going to let go of you. And from 8 to 3, I was going to be your mom. And then I would let you have a slumber party with this man and this woman who brought you into the world every night. That's how I thought. They were just going to give me my baby back, and you having a slumber party with these two people right here. So my last year in the classroom, I believe it was my last year, Jay, I met this student. And you know, you always get your class list. And I just remember saying, they didn't put the rest of his first name on here.
Right.
Who, like, they didn't tell me. And so when I talked to him, I was like, so what's your name? And he said, Jay. And I was like, okay, Jay what? And he was like, just Jay. And even with him saying that, that was his personality for the whole year. Like, he's just him. He's just going to show up at school. He's just going to do his work. He's just going to make you look like an exceptional teacher. And then he's just going to leave and go along on his merry way. J. Ivory Thomas, one of my most scary students, in that I remember talking to his mom, I think, before he left, because he would be a child that if he wasn't intelligent, he could have fallen through the cracks, because he was quiet, but he was like a quiet storm. Like, the storm being, he was an academic powerhouse when it came to reading. And so I'm just blessed that I was able to teach him and Eric. So without further ado, you know, that 5-minute introduction, I want to introduce you all to just J. Ivory Thomas. So there you go.
I'm Jay Thomas, just the letter J. I was named after my grandfather, whose name was James Ivory Thomas, which was my dad's grandfather. And he raised my dad since he was very young. So my dad named me after him. And back in the 3rd grade, that was when I learned that I was really good at reading. And Miss McCray showed me that. And I remember one class, we was doing handwriting, and I went to the board and I wrote my name. And I didn't know, but she had told me that my handwriting was like really straight. Like, it was very straight. And that's always been with me through my career. And now I'm a senior in high school. I already finished all of my math credits, so I don't take math this year. And I take economics from TCC, which is a college course right now. And I take another college course in English 4, which is Intro to Rhetoric. And now when I go into college, I will have 1 year of my math credits, 1 year of my business credits, and 1 year of my English credits before I even get into college.
That is awesome.
And that's about it for now.
That is awesome, Jay. Yeah, your penmanship was perfect. Did you have Miss Broadus as your teacher?
I don't think so.
You don't think? I mean, perfect penmanship. Perfect penmanship. That's awesome. What school are you graduating from?
Young Men's Leadership Academy.
Yeah. I think I wrote your letter to get in there too. Because I used to try to send quite a few of y'all through there.
Yes, ma'am, you did.
Okay. That's what I thought. That's awesome. So proud of you.
Okay.
Is Mabry still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was giving him the thumbs up and everything.
I can't see you. Everybody at once. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, this you. Go ahead. You have another student.
I don't. That's one of my mentees. That's my coworker.
Oh, okay. I thought you had another one. My bad. Okay, y'all. So we have a question. Okay. What's your favorite memory? What's something that you remember about us? Just give us one memory of your teacher. And Eric, you can do both or either or. I think you're on mute.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Y'all probably don't remember. I'm sure teachers do, but for those of y'all who don't know, my mama is also in education as well. And at the time, there's this one time she subbed for Miss Mabry. And the next day, everything Miss Mabry had us supposed to do didn't get done for the most part. And Miss Mabry, she got onto the whole class, and I was feeling bad. I was like, dang, I let them get on with my mama like that. But she was starting out in substituting too. And that's one memory for sure. So, but it worked out, and it showed me like the value of like, and I ended up understanding it later on when my mama actually got classes of her own, how much work goes into planning just one class or one lesson, stuff like that. So I was able to understand, like, I get why Miss Mabry felt that way. As far as Miss McCray, one of the things that stood out to me about her was she wouldn't just teach out of the book or out of the curriculum or whatever the district had her teach. She would teach with real world experiences and things that she's actually been through, or share the things she's been through with other students. And that was important to me, because not everybody learns from a book and not everybody gets things like that. But if you can show them something in the real world that actually happened, then that can stick with them. So those both blessings of memories for me.
Man, shout out to Angela. She's watching too. I know I probably did get on y'all. I never did anything like that. But yes, I did not play when it came to getting that work done. That's so funny that you remember that. Oh my gosh. Pam, what are you saying? You're on mute. You on mute, girl.
Did he tell you his mom was the sub?
I think so. I think when I came back, if I'm not mistaken. That's so funny. I still got on my class just because his mom was the sub. I got on my whole class. I know he was not acting out, but I know they probably were.
Yeah, my mom in there laughing right now. She understands
it now, though.
Right. Okay, Kiara. She may be busy. I don't know. Okay, we'll go to Jay. Jay, you have a memory? I'll come back here.
As well. One memory I had with Miss McCray was we was doing this assignment to figure out our reading levels. And I remember mine said 12th grade, and Miss McCray was hyping me up. She said, "Oh, Jay's smart," and it blew up my head so much. And I bragged about that for at least a couple of days to my parents. And I kept reminding them over and over that I had a 12th grade reading level.
Yes, right, boo. And you did. And you did. And that's why you going to college with a year of college underneath your belt. And I knew that back in 3rd grade.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. See, they hold on to that. And I want those of you who are watching, listen to the things that students remember, because although it may seem like, oh my gosh, I'm wasting my time, or, this is funny or whatever, I shouldn't do that. I need to be teaching. These are the things that stand out and they don't forget. Kiara, do you have a special?
You can make a
go ahead, Pam. I'm sorry.
And just like you can make a student with one comment, with one memory,
yes,
you can break them.
Right.
So
I agree. I totally agree.
There is power in words. Yep.
Kiara, you have a special memory?
I have a lot. I remember when you used to call us in the hall and do your sermons and tell us, like, I guess, I don't know, you used to be saying a lot of stuff, be going off on us, but it just reminds me, like, how I want to be as a mom. Like, because I remember, like, everything, like, talking is key. You can't just yell at us all the time. So, yeah, I remember all your sermons.
Oh, thank you. And I'll tell you, it was my heart. It was heart. Like, people even posted this the other day about it being heart work. It was you were subbing, I think. And y'all, that took time to develop those relationships. Did we get off? Did they learn? Did they succeed? Yes. But also that part had to come first, because I couldn't have them all over the place doing this, doing that, not really focusing. I had to build those relationships. And Kiara would tell you, there were times where I would shut it down, like stop class. And I would talk to them about real life. It was just life. And I know they probably got tired. I was almost preaching every day. And she knows, she'll tell you, yes, come on over here. You clowning over in Miss Murphy class? Come over here. Let me talk to you right quick. We all in the hallway, 10 minutes. Okay. But they got it together. And so sometimes you do have to pause and have that time with your students, because like she said, she remembers. I probably don't remember everything I said, but it's impacting lives. So having those conversations one-on-one, they really, really help.
That's true.
Pam, you got something to add?
I don't.
Okay, we're gonna get into it. You have a question you want to ask the students, and all of y'all don't have to answer. If you want to chime in, you can chime in on whatever questions you want to chime in on.
So if I had a question to ask my babies, I would probably ask, what are some things that you learned throughout your schooling that has helped you get this far, if that makes sense? What's something that you've learned throughout your schooling that helped you get this far?
I think for me would be that you learn through what you not only go through, but grow up through. Like I said, with you, Ms. McCray, you would teach giving real world examples. I think back to one of the ones that stuck with me was you were telling us about this student who wasn't really, you had a while ago, who wasn't really focused on reading because his father told him that he just needed to be good at math so he knew how to count his money. The reason that kid said that was because of the environment he was in probably influenced him to do so. He probably saw like people who were quote unquote successful in his environment, and they weren't worried about reading. They had the math down though. So with me, how that translated back into my life was even going into once I started working and stuff, just seeing you have a profession or things that you know how to do that you get good at. Try to learn as much as you can. The more you know, the more you're able to do, the more knowledge you have, the more power you have. No one can take it from you. So get a wide range and broaden your perspective. And I guess also not to just focus on one thing. Don't get tunnel vision in any goal that you have. And also don't if you feel like you already know something and somebody's offering to teach it to you, again, don't tune them out because they may teach you a better way to understand it too. So that's something for me that I learned.
Okay. All right then.
That's so sweet. Oh, Eric. Y'all, he was like this in 5th grade. And he still has that same heart every time I hear you talk. Okay, so this is another question, and it doesn't even have to pertain to me and Miss McCray. But thinking back to your elementary, middle school, high school, what were some things that your teachers did to develop relationships with you? What are some things that you noticed that they did that these are teachers that stand out, but it was something special or something they took out the time to do to build a relationship with you so that you were able to succeed and really get through their class and you felt that they really cared?
I would say, I'm sorry. I would say just communication. Like, you showed that you really cared about us. Like some teachers, like they don't care. Like they send you to the principal or just write you up. Like you talked to us. Like you took your time with us, and I think that's what really got me. Just like, I don't know, you taking your time and not giving up on us so soon, like most teachers.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share?
I would say something that I remember, I believe it was Miss McCray, and you too occasionally, Miss Mabry, that y'all would have these little things during lunch. Y'all would let us, like you'd have like a group of us, group of boys only that would come and eat lunch with y'all, and y'all would just talk and talk about like real life stuff, and that definitely opened my eyes. I never had a teacher do anything like that for me coming up from like early on in elementary school. Even in like the 2nd and 3rd grade, I was in like Denton ISD. My mom was at Texas Women's University. Teachers out there, they didn't do anything like that. So me seeing that was like, huh. And also hearing and knowing some of the stuff we would talk about, be it like how we should treat women or how to get along in the real world, that definitely opened my eyes and helps me to this day.
We did have those lunch days, baby. And I remember one time, I think you ordered pizza or something, maybe. And I was like, go down there and get me a couple of those slices. Bring them on back down to my classroom.
We used to, I'm telling you, my kids knew I had some snacks. I had one student, I let them do an impersonation of me. Baby, they went over there. I moved out the way. He was like, excuse me, let me have a seat. Grab the candy. Because they knew once they got started on their work, I was going to go grab a candy out of my little candy. So I kept some snacks for them. You know, I had to give treats out. That really, really helped. So, okay, y'all thinking back to like throughout your life. Oh, I couldn't hear you.
Did you have a response?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know, he's quiet. I see, but I knew it. That teacher in me. See, I knew. Okay,
baby, she got your back. Okay.
Yes. I'll say, definitely teachers reaching out because, as Mr. Cray said, I'm a very quiet child, so I wouldn't reach out to my teachers when I needed help or something, just because I was nervous too. And she really helped with that because she would reach out with me even though I didn't ask for it. You know? So I say that's one important thing.
Yeah. And I remember with Jay, I remember talking to his mom before he left because, you know, when I taught 3rd, they were heavy on strategies when you're taking the STAR test and showing your work and showing what you know. And I just remember telling his mom, moving forward, please let all of his teachers know, his reading teachers, he don't have to show strategies. He knows how to process the question and bubble in the correct answer. it's gonna take him forever if you ask him to put a strategy down. He can process the question in his brain, and I promise you, the answer he bubbles in is going to be correct. Yeah, very smart, very intelligent child. Quiet, quiet, quiet. Wasn't going to ask for help, wasn't him. But I kind of knew. I used to read his body language. And I used to watch him because he used to do something with a pencil in his hand. And he would twist the pencil, and I would know something was going on. Something was going on. But yeah. I remember that, Jay.
And that's being attentive. That's something that teachers can also do, is being attentive. You knew those triggers, or you knew certain things he would do. Okay, let me have a conversation. Let's see what's going on. So paying attention to them like really, really helps. They're walking in. I could always tell with Kiara, same thing. She'll do this little walk and stuff like, and I'm like, what's wrong? Come over here.
I remember
Do you
her
remember
now, just based off of what you just said. Yes. I remember her.
That was my girl. She knew how to get at me. Miss Baby, can I come over here? So it's like you have to know your students. Pay attention to each one of them, and they'll indirectly let you know that if something's going on, even if they don't say it. Some of them will come out and tell you, I'm having a day or so forth. But y'all, what advice? We have some educators that are even on here and that are watching. What's some advice that you can give to educators in regards to this? Some of them feel like there's a time crunch where they don't have time to really build relationships, or they have to get this done and get that done. How important is it to develop those relationships with their students?
I would say like you guys were talking about, the smallest thing, even if you acknowledge someone for one of your students for a few seconds or a few minutes, that can change their whole lives for the most part. I can remember growing up, y'all probably knew I was somewhat quiet. I didn't always come out of my shell and, speak up, but whenever I raise my hand and I get picked, I did help with like confidence and actually knowing that, okay, they want to hear what I had to say. Even if, it didn't always exactly align with what the topic was going on, or I was kind of off with my answer, y'all still, let me share my ideas and what was going on in my mind. That's definitely a blessing.
And we figured out how to align it to the topic. That's what we figured out how to
Right.
do. Yes, we did. Yes. I had a question too. Just so you all were at Eastern Hills Elementary with us. As you matriculated through middle school and high school, just like it's important for a teacher to build positive relationships, have you ever had an experience with a teacher who did the total opposite?
Ooh, that's
and if
good.
so, how did you handle that, or how did you feel? So instead of building you up, they kind of knocked you down. Did anybody experience that?
I think
Jay. Jay, go ahead. Jay, go ahead.
I had one teacher, I'll say in the 5th grade. He was my reading teacher, and I remember, like Miss McCray said, I wasn't really good at showing strategy because that made me move like a lot slower than I was. And I was trying my best to try to express the strategy, and it will always make me like second guess my answer and I'll get it wrong. And except for him like trying to reach out and be like, oh, okay, this is where you messed up or whatever, he just grade my work, give me a failing grade, and then he wouldn't even tell me like where I went wrong. And I remember that became a huge problem because my parents are very big on grades. And when I was telling them what was going on, that's when my dad had started a conference with him, and we was talking about it, and he had realized that wasn't strategy, just wasn't my strong suit. And when I move slow, it's like I'll get really distracted, and sometimes I won't even answer the question. And yeah, that kind of happens.
I could see that. Yeah. Well, you may, after we get off this live, you give me that teacher's phone number.
Right. Somebody we fight.
Or his address. Okay. Anybody else?
Me in high school, when I first started out high school, I had this chemistry teacher. And it was, classic teacher from the book, hand you this packet, do your work, turn it in, get the grade. But, everybody doesn't learn quite like that. And I was having a tough time just keeping up in that class. So what ended up happening, it's kind of the same with Jay. My mom ended up having a meeting with her too. It was different. It's like I said, my mom, she could teach too. So she knew what was going on. And there was this day where she came, I was in high school. She came to the class while the teacher was teaching. And basically, like, I want to say, like, was shameful about the situation, but she let the teacher know that there was a problem. And it definitely ended up getting solved. I ended up passing the class and things. Teacher, it like opened the floodgates for that teacher because I wasn't the only student that was happening with. After that, my mama was close to like everybody at that school because she was teaching up there. So it was coaches who, some of their athletes were having a tough time with that same class. And if I was in that class and tutoring, I'll see some of those coaches come in with that teacher and start talking to her. And other parents started after what happened with my mom. And yeah, me and a lot of my peers ended up passing that class. So I say definitely that was one way that happened for me.
You're on mute, Pam.
I said I would ask for the phone number, but I know your mom had handled it. So
Right. I was like, who are we fighting? Okay.
Baby, my babies, please.
Y'all, thank you. Pam, you have any other questions for them tonight?
I don't. I just want to personally come on here and thank you all for coming on here. You all don't know. I talk about my students so much, and I know people are probably like, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. So to have my students on here and for you all to kind of piggyback and confirm what I've always said, that you all are awesome. I appreciate you all for taking the time to come on here. Just know that, and this is for all of you are enough. You all are, and for Jay and Eric, you all are Black men. And as Black men, you all are feared a lot. But what I've come to understand is sometimes you are feared a lot of times because you all are intelligent. You walk around with your pants up to your waist. Um, your intelligence is in your brain, and sometimes people can't see that. And what they can't see, they fear because they can't control it. So I just want you all to continue being great because you simply say so. Greatness is all up and through you all. It seeps out of your pores.
Right.
You walk around this earth, you impact it, you leave footprints.
Mm-hmm.
I want you all to continue on your journey of being great. Look back behind you and help somebody move forward right along with you.
Right.
When I say I am so blessed to have had you all on my class roll, I am so blessed. And I'm going to pass the mic because the tears are falling. But I just want to tell y'all thank you and that I love y'all to pieces. And that's never, ever gonna change. Jay Ivory, make sure I have a graduation invite. Even if I don't have one, I'm coming. Okay?
And I
Yeah,
ditto everything Pam
seniors.
just said. Y'all, my heart, I can't stop smiling right now. I'm so grateful. I mean, y'all have like grown into these awesome men and women. Okay. We had y'all when y'all were children. And I don't think y'all understand the depths of how, as a teacher, to be connected still, because I wish there were still others that I could see what they're doing now. But to know that God has aligned us to continue to stay in touch with y'all, that means a lot. And y'all just don't know how proud we are of you. Continue to be great. We pray God's blessings over you, that no weapon formed shall prosper, and you will continue to be successful. You will continue to do great and mighty things in your life. We are always here. If we have to come fight, jack someone up, we will, because we are forever your teachers. You're forever our children. So we thank y'all for joining us tonight. Y'all are welcome to stay on. I know that if y'all had to leave, that's fine as well. But thank y'all so much for being a part tonight.
Yes, and remember, be you.
Yes.
They'll adjust. Be you, because that's what Miss McCray, I'm me. Everybody else I have to adjust. So you just walk through life, you be you.
Yes.
And they'll adjust. All
yes.
right. And y'all have a wonderful rest of the evening.
Wonderful evening and a happy Labor Day weekend to y'all too. So those of you who are tuned in, we're going to continue for a little bit. We have a couple of things we're going to continue to talk about as far as developing relationships. We're in the teaching series. And so McCray and I, we taught the same campus for about 4 years, I think, before I left, and she stayed there. But we've taught at a variety of schools. And so in that, and as you could tell from our students, this meant a lot when we were in the classroom. I didn't play with that, because you are playing with someone's future. I took it very seriously. She took it very seriously. And so we're just kind of going to talk about, if you're an educator, and some of these things don't even just pertain to education. You can even apply this if you're in the workplace, you're trying to develop relationships in the workplace with fellow employees, or you're the boss and you have employees underneath you. These are some things to think about. One of the things we want to talk about, I know I've taught in mostly predominantly low income areas. However, I have taught in an area that wasn't. But even with that particular campus, it was a Title I school. Now, I can say that a lot of students come with some challenges, especially if you're in these areas. And sometimes if you're not aware, because I will be honest, my first year teaching, I was used to, I was in the corporate world, and I was used to children that I grew up with, how we were in school. This was my frame of reference. Church children that I would see at church and so forth. And so when I got to the school and started teaching, my eyes were open. Not every child is like that, okay? Because a lot of those children, and I won't say all, but a good majority of those students, we realized, came to school as a safe place and a haven. Because they were facing challenges, at the house. One parent in the household, sometimes financial issues, poverty, taking care of siblings. Okay, these are some things that they had to come. Maybe their lights were off or so forth. So Pam, what were some other challenges that you noticed, like with some of your students that they would come to school with?
I think a lot of kids came to school. Well, I only taught at inner city schools. That's it. Um, a lot of kids came to school with their parents' burdens on their shoulders. A lot of them came and they were physical representations of what was going on at home. And that can be tough as a teacher if if you don't have the correct mindset. And so I was blessed to be a passionate educator, and my goal was always to heal a child. And so it worked out to the point where I was able to help students, but they were able to grow me. So I would say all of those same concerns or challenges that you spoke of, and just carrying the weight of their parents or lack thereof.
And I know we talked about this earlier in a joking way, but y'all will be surprised how many come hungry. You can't learn with a growling stomach. So I would keep extra snacks. Okay. Although I was eating some myself, my kids knew, my kids knew Miss Mabry or Jones at the time had some snacks. Okay. Because I want them to be taken care of. So with that, a lot of teachers I know feel, and I get it, that there is a curriculum. I have a certain amount of time that I have to get through this. We have testing coming up and so forth. How do I have time to develop a relationship with the student? I will say this, no matter how many degrees we have, a student does not care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And I heard that when I first started teaching, and I was like, what does that really mean? They don't teach you a lot of this in college, okay? That some days, like Kiara said, I had to put that lesson to the back burner and I needed to talk about life because y'all are clowning. I'm hearing about fights and all this stuff. Let's talk about life. And I poured into them. It was almost like a preacher preaching to students, okay? Because I had to sow the seed. Some years the seed is sown, some years later on, they may not get it that same year, but maybe, a couple of years later, they will remember what Miss Mabry said. Oh, okay. So you can sow a seed, you can water a seed, God will bring the harvest. And so I trusted God, at first, I know I would stress myself out because I wanted them all to pass. I wanted them all of that same year to just get it. And I remember one of the veteran teachers that was on my team, he said, you're going to have to let that go because this year may have been your year just to plant the seed. You can't hit them all, but plant the good seeds. And then later on, those seeds will grow. And so it's the little things. If you notice the student is hungry, giving them a snack, that's developing a relationship, smiling, speaking to them, okay? That's building a relationship. Because do you know that there are some teachers that won't even speak? They don't speak to the adults in the building, let alone the children. This is real talk. We can have transparent talks on the open book. We are about transparency. So if you want your students to behave a certain way, what are you pouring or giving out to them? I'll never forget, I did have a student that had an attitude. And so, I probably had some developing in my spiritual walk to do during that time because when she popped her neck, I popped my neck too. Okay. And so I'll never forget, I was walking down the hallway. And so one of my friends was teaching fourth grade. And so we stopped, our stopping point was by her classroom. And so I put her in the front of the line. And so we were going back and forth. She was saying something and I did that. And I was like, keep going, something like that. So my friend pulled me over to the side. She said, now, she's doing that because you were doing that. Because you can't get back with her how she's doing you. And so that was like a check for me. Like, okay, do I want to be the professional? Because I have to show her the correct way to act. And so checking each other sometimes helps, okay? Because that's not helping develop a relationship. And I think that was really, the turning point of when things turned in our relationship. When I was, cognizant of, I'm doing this the wrong way. Because you would be surprised as much as our students learn from us, we learn from them. I actually grew with my students. And so just watching those things, forgiving them, I don't care how much, they had a challenging day one. That next day, I had to start fresh. I could not hold it over their heads. I couldn't stay mad at them the next day. I had to leave it at the door. And so that's developing a relationship because some of them act out to test you to see if you care. So if you are smiling the next day, they're like, I did all that clowning and she's still smiling at me. Oh, okay. She might be all right. She might be all right. So, that's how they do. So those are some things that you can do that are small things that turn into big things, and you'll find yourself developing a relationship.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with all of those. Definitely. And understanding not taking things personally. So many times it has nothing to do with you, but everything to do with you. Meaning nothing to do with you. You didn't tick that student off, but it has everything to do with you. As in, you can de-escalate the situation. It's free game for a teachable moment. And so you can take situations and you can turn them around completely. Um, yeah.
And then I would even say, Pam, I don't know if you thought about this, um, going into their world, because they kept me relevant. Okay, or like up on top of stuff. What's the word I'm looking for? Not relevant, but kind of relevant, but really in the know of different
Uh-huh.
things. So when I came out of the classroom, I feel like, I miss out on a lot of things, like the new dances and all of that stuff. But
I think the same
yeah,
thing.
like, they keep you up on it. Like, I used to ask my kids, questions. What's that? I just wanted to know. And so you would be surprised, though, those of you who feel that, you're teaching, you would be surprised if you go into their world for a little bit. You can incorporate some of those things into your lessons, because
Yeah.
it will make it relevant and engaging for the students. But you have to know who you're teaching first. If we never go into their world for a little bit, we can never learn about them. We'll never know.
That's correct. I had now you know I haven't taught in 8 years, okay? And I'm in a new district,
Longer than me.
and and we had a set of twins, okay, at our campus, and they had just transferred. And one of them, I guess, had was in the office first thing in the morning,
Right.
okay, in the
Right.
front office, in trouble, I guess. And so, me being me, I automatically see this young black boy, and my heart is just, I gotta go. I have to go.
Right.
So I go in there and I sit down next to him and I just talk to him. And I end up telling him a story about Kiwan.
Woo.
Kiwan. Yes.
Woo.
And so
I
somehow
had her key one too.
you did have my Kiwan. Somehow, after I told him the story about Kiwan, um, I told him I wanted him to have a better day. I wanted him to, if he had to go home, I wanted him to come back and have, start over again. And so that's it. And I left. I introduced myself to him. I talked to him. I told him about Kiwan, and then I got up and I left. So maybe about 2 hours later, I'm radioed to the behavior room. Miss McCray, you're needed in the behavior room. And I'm like, but I don't even have students. Okay. So I go into the behavior room, and there are three adults and this one child that I had just saw in the front office a little bit ago. We need you to talk to him because he said he's not going to talk to anybody except for the woman that sat down in the front office and tried to change his life. And when it comes to building relationships, I promise I sat down with that child for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. So I come through the door and I'm looking. Hey, yes, I'm not talking to nobody but Miss McCray. And so I asked everybody politely to leave out the room. And we had a conversation, and he was able to write up everything that happened or whatever. But that I had maybe 5 to 10 minutes with that child. And after that, whenever he had issues, can you guess who they called?
You.
Exactly. Exactly.
Y'all, she's being humble too right now. I would say McCray is the master of developing and keeping these relationships. She has a whole group of students, and you have a Facebook page for y'all, right? You and your students. She goes to graduations. She gives them things. Y'all, this is not just something that you could just do and just let it go. This is like life changing. Like being a teacher is life changing. And to hang in there and to see them grow into grown people and doing good, successful, respectful, there's no greater joy. And I think I did just in the classroom, I think I did only 8 years in the classroom. So it's like almost that pauses for a second once you get out of the classroom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
It
Yep.
does.
Yeah.
So I think one and they will start to trust more. Something I was just while you were talking that hit me. Some educator may be watching this. You cannot be afraid of your students. You can't. You have to learn how to trust them, because if anything, if you're afraid of them, you really have to develop a relationship, or it's not going to work. Okay. And I know there are teachers who are afraid of their students. It is hard. I remember one time my kids came and told me one morning that one of the girls brought a knife to school over a little boy. Okay. And so, but I had the relationship with them. So they come and whisper it to me all the time. Any little thing, they keep me up on the gossip and everything about the kids. And so I was like, she does, So I called the little girl out, and she was a nice little girl, beautiful, never had any behavior issues, but I don't know what happened with this boy situation. Called her in the into the hallway. Instead of me waiting to get somebody to come and get him, I'm like, hi, baby. I heard that you have a knife today. So, and me thinking back right now, I could have been dead. And so she said, she was honest. She said, yes, ma'am. I said, so where is it? She said, it's in my pants. Y'all, this is no joke. Okay. I said, was it okay if I look? So she raised up her shirt and I saw the handle. I don't know how she kept this knife in the back of her pants. I'm pulling the knife, trying not to cut her. And it felt like the knife was not stopping. The knife actually, it was long, y'all. And so I took the knife and I just kind of put it around the door while I'm standing by the door. So in case she had a quick reaction, she wouldn't take it and cut me up. And she was just standing there just as calm. And I waited, she waited for admin to come, had to give it to them, and they ended up taking her to juvie. To this day, I don't know what happened to her after that. But I hope and pray that the seed sown, but I trusted my kids, so it's like, although I saw a lot from BB guns to drugs and so forth, I still love them. I tried to still talk to them and show them that someone cared, because guess what? If something does pop off, they're not going to come for the one that cared about them. If anything, it would be the other one. Okay, so I need to make sure I'm on your good side. So
you got right too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But we cannot be afraid of them. We have to love them. They're looking for love and direction and structure, holding them accountable and being patient with them through the process. Because if you go from no structure, sometimes in some of the homes, and now you're coming here asking me to have structure, it takes some time. It does. So just being patient with that process.
And I think that also, I try to tell teachers to handle things in-house, because the moment you send the child to the principal, that child says, oh, Miss McCray can't handle me. She just gonna send me out. Handle things in-house. From 8 to 3, you gonna look at this beautiful face every day, Monday through Friday.
Right. And I'm having your parents on text message feed.
Exactly. Just make sure your principal has a whole school to run. Yes, they gonna tell you we gonna be there for support, but they have so many other things that they have to do. Just handle things in-house. I guarantee you, if you do it the correct way, I think it was Malcolm X that said there has to be a mortar. If you do it the right way, and there is an example, the other folks will follow suit. It's the way you do it and how you deliver it. But I think that that's important, to handle things in house. And you stated something earlier, and I was going to piggyback off of it. What was I getting ready to say? You said something about, oh, students are a reflection of their teachers. So when you said she popped her neck and you popped your neck, I always say students are reflections of their teachers. And it's interesting because Miss Green is on here now, and her class this year is so mellow. And if you see her, she's like this. I tell her she's like a chocolate Barbie doll. And she just walks around her room and she has a calm and mellow demeanor. And her students are just like that. Just like that. And it was so interesting because when I was in the classroom, people would tell me all the time, your students so opinionated. And I'd be like, well, they get it from me. They're a reflection of me. So I think that, it's important to remember that your students are a reflection of you.
And I totally agree. And you rocking it, Miss Green. I see you, but I hear you rocking it. Y'all, I just want to just encourage the educators tonight. Just like I said, the little things, try the little things, but it will be well worth it. You will be surprised that when you pour into them, the results that come, not just necessarily that they will pass, because doing that will help them to have great grades, but throughout life, they will not forget you. I promise you, I can remember every elementary school teacher, okay? Because I believe that sets the foundation, and they did more pouring, but then it seems like middle school through high school, we cannot let it go. That's when it really, really, they go through like changes during those times. So just taking a little time, taking care of yourself and taking care of your students will get you far in this field. It's not for the weak. It takes work. But when I tell you it pays off, it pays off. So that's all I have. Pam, you have any encouraging words for them?
Just stay the course. Mm-hmm. Know your why. Remember your why. If your why is to get a paycheck, just resign soon.
Yes.
But remember your why. If your why is you want to impact lives in a positive way, just reflect on that. As a matter of fact, if you toggle back and forth, write it type it up on a printer, print it out, frame it, hang it in your classroom at eye level so you can always remember your why and be reminded of it if you have to. Just stay the course. These past 2 years have been very different. But remember that if you can make it through these last 2 years in education, baby, you can stay the course through retirement age. Because this here pandemic ain't for the weak, okay? And you're still standing. So to all of the educators who may be on right now, just stay the course. It'll be worth it in the end. Very rewarding. Education and educating others is one of the most rewarding occupations. That's it.
Yay! Woo, y'all!
This was an awesome night, Mabry.
Man, I had a ball, and it was I know I'm gonna cry when I get off. I've been trying to keep it together because I got to get through this, but y'all, this has been awesome. I'm so proud of my students and our children. I can't keep just saying students because I consider them our hearts, and we will fight for them. We have to. But have a wonderful year. If we have more topics, we might keep this going, so we have some teachers, we have some administrators. Hey, you want to come on here? We can do some things and really just build up this profession again, get back the passion to education, because too much is at stake. We have futures. These children are the future. And we have to make sure that we're doing right by them and pouring into them so that they can do those great things that we know that they can do. So I thank you all for joining us tonight, the open book. We've had 2 nights in a row. We have coming up this month, we will have a single with purpose session. So we'll have some singles on. We're going to talk about some things. And then we're going to do something for the married couples later on this month or next month. But I'll keep you all posted. So thank you once again for joining us. And we hope to see you next time.
Yes. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.